Dylan Butler, good morning.
Good morning. I apologize for the
No worries.
weird avatar there. I still haven't figured this out.
It's all good. So we have the breaking news from U.S. Soccer, sir, about Open Cup. MLS requested the next pro teams to represent, and the folks at U.S. Soccer are denying the request. So no MLS Next Pro teams allowed in the Reindeer Games this year for Open Cup in 2024. That literally just broke.
Yeah, it did. We don't have enough time, I think, to break down all of the nuances of the Open Cup and its issues. I will say this. Can't there be a mechanism in place which allows an MLS expanded roster to include next pro guys?
Mm-hmm. Or the inverse, yeah.
And under that, say, Atlanta United, New York Red Bulls, whatever it is, umbrella, be able to utilize those kind of guys and your reserve guys and play them in the Open Cup in the early rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, or as long as you want to have that particular scenario. Yeah, I mean, you could have it as first team. And I mean, look, LAFC in the past Open Cup in the early rounds, because of their schedule compression, because of the then CCL, now Triple C, the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza, basically brought up everybody from LAFC2, said they were going to do it, did it, tried to lose, couldn't lose, and advanced in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a romantic about cup competitions. I love the FA Cup. I think I've said it to you before. I love those like early round games that we get on TV where it's, a guy with his dog in the stands, and this guy's a cab driver, and this other guy is the bartender in the pub that's adjacent to the stadium that holds 12 people. Like, dog and red against whoever. Like, I love these games, and the same is true of the U.S. Open Cup. And I just wish in this new world of expanded competitions and expanded match congestion, I guess, that MLS would find a way to still compete. I think it's an important tournament.
Yep. And Major League Soccer, once again, thanks to our intrepid producer, Ricky Ricardo. So the statement. Major League Soccer recently proposed to U.S. Soccer a plan for MLS Next Pro teams to represent the league in the 2024 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. MLS took that step because it believes there are several essential goals and concerns that must be addressed in connection with the tournament, including developing young professional players, providing them with greater opportunity to play before fans in meaningful competition in a tournament setting, prioritizing player health and safety, reducing schedule congestion for MLS clubs, and enhanced investment from U.S. Soccer. U.S. Soccer has subsequently notified MLS that the Federation is not prepared to grant the necessary waiver for MLS Next Pro clubs owned by MLS owners to participate in the Open Cup. Independently owned MLS Next Pro clubs, such as Chattanooga FC and Carolina Core, remain eligible for the 2024 Open Cup. MLS is committed to finding a viable solution for the 2024 tournament and is working to find a pathway that addresses its goals and concerns moving forward. MLS will remain focused on increasing opportunities for up-and-coming players, a key component of the league's player and development strategy that ultimately benefits the U.S. national team program. End of paragraph, end of statement. So there you go. That's
I mean, good. Listen, good on U.S. Soccer. I think for pushing back, and hopefully again this results in a solution that we see it around the world. I mean, there's match congestion in look at Newcastle, for example, right? My team.
There you go.
Just played in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals with basically the same 11, more or less, that we played on the weekend, that then we played the previous Tuesday or Wednesday against AC Milan, that we played the previous week. Like, you just can't do it. You need to be able to utilize reserve players, especially for the early rounds. I think by the time you get to the quarterfinals and you're a couple games away from a Champions Cup spot, then yeah, you go with your big guns, right? But I don't think punting on the tournament is the answer. I think there's, I don't know what it is, but I think there's got to be something in there. Like I said, maybe it's a greater leeway to utilize more next pro guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
as first team guys in those games.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if you're Major League Soccer, just expand your roster rules for Open Cup.
Yes.
And obviously you've got to consult with the PA and look at the CBA and make sure that you do it on the QT. So if the VC finds out about it, we wouldn't all end up in KP.
And all of this is TBA.
Yes, absolutely. And so it seems to me that the folks in New York, what they should do, look at the collective bargaining agreement and have MLSPA on speakerphone. Hey, yo, Scott Hall there, complete with the with the toothpick. So, I mean, legitimately, this seems to me like what MLS should do from the league office: speakerphone in a room, closed doors, long table. Hey, yo, MLSPA. What does the CBA say about this? Or can we grant a waiver for the tournament, add some kind of addendum, sit there and expand roster rules, blah, 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 blah. So we're not sitting there and about, trying to figure out, is there an issue for someone who is not MLSPA approved, whether it's college or, what have you, academy, what have you. Make sure that they are okay with a roster, like a college player, an academy player, or a next pro player being a part, or you look at it as the inverse. If you sit there and it's like, look, okay, my MLS Next Pro team in name. Look, we see this all the time with players from the first team that are on injury reassignments. Where do they go? They go to the second club. They go to the second team to get the kinks out, to get back to full song. So, I would think that the inverse could be just as true if you send first team players down to be a part of the MLS Next Pro roster to be a part of Open Cup. I could see this working one of two ways, but obviously if you want to sit there and attach the idea of, okay, you can't have Next Pro players, all right, it's got to be MLS. So, okay, fine. Let's look at the CBA. What happens for academy players, college players, guys that we want to bring in, to be a part of this whole thing? There should be a workable solution here as long as the PA is consulted and is a part of the process, and then we can all be happy and have we can all skip down the yellow brick road by the time we're done, yeah?
Yeah, and I think listen, so many fans, they clamor for the next one, right? Like, hey, who's this great right back that I keep hearing about, or who's this 16-year-old that we have on, through our academy or in Next Pro, whatever it is. And I think this is an opportunity, I think, then to see those guys, right? But I think there is truth to, and we spoke about this as well during the Open Cup. There needs to be better visibility. Let's make a bigger investment in the U.S. Open Cup. I'm not saying everything's got to be on Apple TV, obviously, but to have to, like, some of the feeds were horrible.
Yep.
Right. Like we do high school sports and our feeds are better. We've got more cameras utilized, seemingly with better technology than was utilized in some of these games. Right. Yep. Like some of them look like it was just on an iPhone.
Yep.
So along those lines, I don't think that's necessarily part of the concern for MLS in this. but that's part of my concern, right? Let's not treat this as some minor event.
Right. And I think that's key in all of this. I mean, to your point, you mentioned your beloved Newcastle. I think we did the math yesterday. Manchester City, when we were talking about, I think Manchester City played 71 matches last year. So 61 or 71, some number that was astronomical because of all the different competitions they were in and all this kind of stuff. So if they played 38 in league, plus Champions League, plus FA Cup, plus Gummy Bear Cup before they got blown out of it, plus Club World, or, all these other I think it was 61 matches. So they played 61 matches last year. LAFC played 53 matches last year. And I think that in, LAFC, once again, they tried to tank out of the Open Cup, which to me would be even more of a concern if I was U.S. Soccer, where they stood up and said, look, we're bringing twos. And now you're going to sit there and kvetch about twos being the active part of the roster or the active part of the engagement when it comes to Open Cup. So, LAFC, because of their own success, played 53 matches last year, and they tried to get out of it and still couldn't do it right. It's just, I mean, there has to be a solution here unless something is in the CBA that says that something could go wonky or that you're not allowed to do a certain thing.
Yeah, but the overall answer is probably similar to what we see in Mexico, right? Bring out a lot of those triple-digit guys.
Mm-hmm.
For so many of these different competitions.
Yeah, absolutely. And just make sure that the CBA doesn't flinch and the PA doesn't flinch when you see. But then how different is actually saying? How different is it putting it in writing that we were going to have extra investment from our second team and have those triple-digit guys in there? How different is it saying that you're going to do it versus just having a roster and on game day have a bunch of guys that are triple digits? I think, what is it, officially just making sure that you have to have it on paper and making it officially official that, yes, we're going to do things this way instead of just dropping roster dudes in there for Open Cup with a bunch of first teamers. I guess that's the difference. But I think that it's frustrating on a bunch of different levels here, where it seems like, and of course, we don't know the legalese, but it seems like the solution is right there. But I think the legalese might be blocking the way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. We haven't had you on in a while. First off, how was Thanksgiving, and what are you looking at for Christmas?
It wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving was good.
How was Christmas in the Dylan Butler household, by the way?
How is it?
Is it showy? Is it big? Is it kind of calm? Do you have to travel a lot? What are you doing?
No, we break that up. We break up the travel between like 2 or 3 days. This year, 3 days. I think Saturday I'll go into my mom. She's in Queens, super close to my new stadium.
There you go. Yeah. States, yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
And then Christmas Eve will be at my wife's side of the family, one of her cousins' houses, and then Christmas is obviously in my house first, and then we'll go to the in-laws, which are like a 3-minute ride away. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's good.
What's on your Christmas list? Are you going to get the the pony for Christmas? What do you got?
Well, my ultimate list has a Ram 1500 on it, but I don't think that's coming.
Well, but can you
in Duke blue, by the way? So if any of the listeners are super generous,
well, then let me ask you this:
yes,
do you have a parking space that could fit it?
Yeah. I have a nice sized driveway.
Okay, just checking. We haven't had the chance to talk about coaching carousel and coaching changes.
Yeah.
We still have some vacancies. Bruce Arena is back in the mix for something, and Now you've got, let's see, Red Bulls have their guy. New England has their guy. Montreal does not. Minnesota has an interim. Who else is in play? Is DC still in play? Is that what we're thinking? Is that where we think?
DC is in play with the rumor of a potential arena return.
Okay. Because I was thinking it might have been John Harkes initially to go to DC after he left Greenville Triumph in USL League One. But now with Bruce Arena having been reinstated, and we still don't know what Bruce did or didn't do, he's back. So
I would love. DC makes too much sense, I think, just to sort of maybe bookend his professional career, right?
Right.
With the club that he made an early dynasty in this league. But I'm also, just for the you-know-whats and giggles, I would love to see him in Montreal and then try to fight through speaking French in one of these press conferences.
Oh, that would be tremendous. And you get cranky Bruce Arena trying to deal with things in multiple languages.
And an owner that isn't the most common his own way either. So
yes, that is true. And that's the thing, is that anybody who wants to deal with Montreal, and right now we're looking at Laurent Courtois, Pomadou Ka, and Savarese, and Gio Savarese, who have apparently interviewed for that particular position. Do you want to deal with all the ish of a stadium named in third person, after the owner? It's my barn, so it's my stadium. Do you want to deal with all of that stuff? And that would be the other thing about Bruce. If Bruce was to go to Montreal and have to deal with Joey Saputo, it might be like Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner.
Yeah, that's not happening. And I I know that I think he would want to have some sort of setup like he had in New England, but I don't think that's there for him right now anywhere, really, right? Like, Ali McKay is at DC, so they have that person there. So there isn't that sporting director coach role out there for him. I think he would just have to be the head coach at, wherever he ends up going. Again, I just think in many ways DC makes the most sense from what's left out there, obviously, but you have Chris Armas as well in Colorado,
right?
You have Dean Smith,
Four Corners,
nothing like Dean Smith in Carolina. So although again I'm a Duke guy, so I'm more of a guy.
But you can't quite do Four Corners if you're Charlotte FC, though. I don't think.
I mean, unless you got guys who can ping that ball really well, man.
Yeah, you sit there and you just go four corners the whole time and try to lull the your possession numbers would go up, but I don't know if you get any shots on net. But no, that's got too many jokes that could be attached to it with Dean Smith and Charlotte. When you look at these new guys, we talked about Armas. Caleb Porter is not the Caleb Porter that we've known in the past.
What's funny about Caleb Porter is he I hate to make this comparison, but he's almost like the MLS Jose Mourinho, where he gets success, but his window, or like a John Tortorella, right? Like he's not long for any one place. Like he's like some meteor. Like he'll find success, but 2-3 years he's out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like he's worn out his welcome. So whatever his messaging is, or his method of delivering the message, it works in the short term, not in the long term. So
yeah, no, I think that your personalization of turning him into John Tortorella is a great soccer reference. And so Jarrett's going to join us for the tail end of this particular segment with Dylan. Jarrett, we've been spending time talking about the press release fight.
What you would be discussing.
Yeah, with the press release fight that is going on right now among MLS, the U.S. Soccer Fed, and apparently the USL has decided to add to the press release fight this morning.
I imagine everybody is going to. I imagine we're going to get everything from like Nisa on up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're also in coaching carousel, and Caleb Porter, Dylan's on fire this morning. Dylan has said that Caleb Porter reminds him of either late career Jose Mourinho or John Tortorella.
Jesus. I don't disagree. I mean, hey, Dylan, we talked about this before, man. They're like, yeah, like it feels like the later he gets into his career, he is getting more Jose, like both in confrontation and style, man. It's I don't know how deep the turtle can go into its shell, though.
That's pretty deep. But I mean, when you look at these new hires, Dylan, who do you think has the most, I guess, the closest idea of having success? I mean, how successful do you think Armas is going to be in Colorado? Are they going to give him the leash that he needs to do things his way? Is the late career Jose Mourinho going to do well in dealing with the baloney up in New England? I mean, how when you look at these new hires, who's going to be successful, do you think?
I think Porter, short term, I think he'd be the guy to be the most successful. I hope that Armas is given the ability to succeed. I think he'll get a long enough leash, but again, it's the question of, will there be enough investment? I mean, I think personnel wise, you've got more to work with, right? If you're Porter at this point in New England than probably any of the other new hires, right?
Yeah, I would think so. So you laid out your Christmas plans. You've laid out your Duke Blue Ram F-150 Christmas wish. What else is going on with you in Varsity Media, MLS Soccer, and OSDB? Do you actually have time to yourself?
Yeah, no, it's Varsity Media. Our next broadcast, I think, is January 5th. So nice little break from the end of football season, which ended a lot earlier for me than you. But so on that side, yeah, it's good. And then as is always the case, as a year ends, like OSDB, like, you start to churn out some of those top 10 stories in American soccer. That'll be in 2 weeks' time. That'll be on New Year's Day.
Okay.
And then on Christmas Day is the aforementioned coaching carousel. And there's that other one too that's interesting in Minnesota, where it's just sort of like,
oh God,
we're gonna hold off for now because our guy hasn't gotten acclimated yet. So
yeah, our technical director is not going to be here till after the first of the year, so we're going to hang on to our interim, and he's going to be our coach while our guy comes over to this side of the Atlantic and impacts the colony.
But I would argue, honestly, like that guy might have the ability. Like I think that team's a sleeping giant, right? I mean, I don't think they're too many pieces away from being a really good team, as long as you have the right guy in there to manage that. So, whoever that hire is, could be that guy.
Yep. All right. So are you going to be able to join us to talk about the year in review next Wednesday? Or are you going to be with family?
Yeah. What is next Wednesday? Next Wednesday.
27th.
27th. I should be good.
Okay, good. Well,
I know my daughter is off from school. I have to consult with the GM here.
Yes, understood. The boss needs to be consulted.
Yep. But I'm hopeful.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. So once again, Dylan, as always, thanks for hanging out with us on Wednesday to go over breaking news. And I'm sorry to drop that on you, but that was
no. I started at the same time you did. It's all good.
So we'll catch up again next week, my friend. Thanks for hanging out.
All right, boys.